All right. Well, we are live here tonight with the Robin Comrade Show. We are doing our thing here. The coronavirus is not taking us down. Give us a moment here. We'll let some folks get involved with the show. As soon as some folks show up on the live feed here, we will get moving.
Come here. Come here.
Anyway, there we go. All right. Here we go. As we got some folks piling in here. This is depressing. All right, here we go. Make sure I've got my tape rolling. Yeah, there we go. Well, welcome into the latest edition of the Rob Comrade and Kale Show. I am Rob Sanders, your host. I represent the Clemson Tigers, your football team that's won 2 out of the last 4 titles in national titles. They also stomp Gamecock ass. I have 2 co-hosts. Both of them may be patient 0 in their county here in South Carolina for the coronavirus. We'll start with the comrade, Mike Zabreski. Mike, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. It is a depressing time.
He sounds like he's got the coronavirus.
I think I do. This is bad. I make a pledge right now. I will never again complain in my life about Gamecock athletics. They can lose every game. I will not complain about it. I will say at least they're playing. At least they played. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all
crazy.
I have.
All right, well, there you go with that. We also have the man from the upstate, the man that is absolutely so cool that, well, I mean, he could hang out with beautiful Bobby and sweet Stan Lane. He could be the third member of the Midnight Express if he wanted to be. But I think Kale wants to be a babyface. He is Kale Hall. Kale, good evening, sir.
Hey, yeah, he nailed it. Depressing time, indeed. I did all my yard work when I got off yesterday afternoon, so today I was pretty much free. And I
bet your yard looks fucking fabulous, doesn't it?
What's that?
Your yard looks fucking fabulous, doesn't it?
Right now, yeah. I watched, I don't know, as much WWE Network as I could stand. And then I switched over to something they're watching, the history of the SEC. On the SEC Network, I watched that. And then later on today, I found myself watching for about an hour of hour-long loop of TV commercials from October 13th, 1995. And I was just like this.
What the fuck are you watching?
So, yeah, glad to be doing the podcast.
Well, Nathan says he's definitely got the coronavirus. He's probably a patient too. Shout out to Nathan Medlin, friend of the show. I want to thank our sponsors for the show. We'll start with some humor this evening. The No Spin Zone segment from DNC Trucking and Transport with the comrade, Mike Zabreski. Mike, good evening, sir.
It sucks to be a Gamecock. I love 2 men on this planet, Will Muschamp and Donald Trump. I'll run down for my fan base. Clemson killed us in football. Clemson advanced further in basketball and won more postseason games than our team that I said was building something special. Lord. Clemson also pink-socked us in baseball. Clemson owns the states. It sucks to be a Gamecock. Go Tigers.
That message courtesy of Dennis Wilson, DNC Trucking and Transport, who's kicking the comrade while he's down.
Clemson slid in the back door in baseball, courtesy of shitty bullpen.
What's up, Gwen?
Build a better bullpen.
They did.
Build a better bullpen, sir. Build a better bullpen.
Ain't nothing they did.
That is such shit. That is such shit, Kale.
By the way, it doesn't count.
No,
The baseball
true,
season
though.
was canceled. The series does not count, by the way. I don't count that series.
According to people, I don't care what you count.
The rule has to be the season has to be completed, otherwise it does not count. It does not count. Sorry. We currently hold the streak against you. We won the last series that was played in the season that was completed. Sorry.
That doesn't You and I
I'm
both know
sorry.
that.
It's in the rule book. I'm sorry.
Mike,
I'm
it's not.
sorry. It is in the rule book. Check it. Check it.
I don't check anything. We have several things we're going to get into tonight. I've actually got some stuff on my mind tonight that I would order to throw over to you guys. I want to thank Callaway's Bar and Grill out in West Columbia, and I'm sure Mike and the folks there would want me to tell you that as of right now, you can still go to restaurants and support them. Find your favorite mom and pop spot and support them if you can, even if you go and get takeout. If you're one of these people that's running around in a cloth mask, which, by the way, that does not help you, you can still get the coronavirus if you're an idiot.
Well, only wear the mask if you've been infected. That's what you do. You don't wear it if you're healthy. You wear it if you are, have been exposed to it. Yeah, but buy gift certificates from Callaway's. They have gift certificates there, I'm sure. Buy gift certificates. You can use later on.
Check them out.
Get takeout.
All the stuff there at Callaway's, retro video games and all that. Check it out at Callaway'sBarandGrill.com, or just go by Highway 1, diagonal from the Walmart in West Columbia, right next to Sonic. Go by, play some video games, some pool, all that stuff at Callaway's if you want, or just go order food. You can find them on what's that? One of those. What is it? What's the food company?
Grubhub.
Grubhub.
I think they go Grubhub. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can check them out on Grubhub, Uber Eats. They do all of that at Callaway's. They'll just send it to your house. So go by and check them out right now at Callaway'sBarandGrill.com. I want to get into several things today. First of all, I kind of have to laugh at the degenerates. Kale, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but you don't do like daily fantasy like DraftKings or all that, right?
No, can't say I do.
All right, Mike, you don't do that either, though, right?
I do it for baseball. I do. I play the baseball tiers.
They don't have anything to do right now. So tonight I got an email like at 6:00 today. Hey, we're going to do props on the Democratic presidential debate. And there were like 10 questions. They were letting everybody play free. So of course I'm going to try it. One of the questions was, who mentioned President Trump first? Who will mention billionaires first? Who'll get the first question? Will the first question be about the coronavirus? It's really funny. Really, really funny. People are getting creative. By the way, what are you laughing at, Kale?
I just got tickled that we were just having a conversation about Uncle Lou earlier.
Yeah.
And for those listeners out there who don't know, Uncle Lou is a YouTube video maker with close to 30,000 subscribers now, I would say. He's a Georgia football enthusiast, and he often clowns on the Florida Gators. And I remember a video he did about after week 1 of the 2018 season, and Florida had won their first game against Charleston. They played Charleston Southern, beat them in the first game, and their quarterback at the time, Felipe Franks, he threw a touchdown pass. And I think this was Dan Mullen's first game at Florida, and he threw the jump pass for a touchdown, kind of like Tim Tebow did back in the day. And I'm watching this SEC story thing. This is from 2000 through 2009. It's like in 5 parts, SEC football special. And it showed Tim Tebow threw a jump pass against somebody there for a touchdown. I think it's 2007 they're showing right now. And I remember Uncle Lou making the comment that he's a Gator fan thinks it's 2008 again because Felipe Franks is throwing jump passes against Charleston Southern. So it just cracks me up.
Well, speaking of Uncle Lou, I have extended an invite to Uncle Lou on Twitter. We direct message back and forth earlier today. I got in his DMs. I think Kale Hall would wear an Uncle Lou t-shirt. If Uncle Lou had a t-shirt, Kale Hall would sport that shit. In fact, I may get in touch with Eddie Hicks, friend of the show, and see if I can find an Uncle Lou logo and get.
He has them.
Oh, he has them himself. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can order his merchandise from his you can order Lou Tube on Fox Sports South, the Braves were playing somebody and they hit a
Right.
home run, and whoever it was, it caught the home run ball out in left field, had on a Lutube shirt.
Well, I'm in comms with Uncle Lou, and supposedly he's going to join us on the podcast one night. Hopefully, Kale won't just say to him, yes, sir, and turn into a Georgia fan by the end of the show. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Can you help me with that, Kale?
Well, I've told you before. I mean, of all the teams in the SEC, and that's just one. I don't really get a lot of friction with that fan base for whatever reason. Just really, I have meshed okay with me over the years. Florida is one that I hate the most. Tennessee, probably close second. Although they're hard to hate. I mean, because they're just not that bright. And Kentucky,
you could be a Georgia
about them. I mean, you wouldn't think it, but they got some real shit talkers and some dumb ones too. So it all makes for some good shit. But Florida, I mean, Georgia, just not one I really normally have a problem with. Unlike most South Carolina fans, can't stand them. I don't know.
Well, so you could be a Georgia fan, right?
I'm telling you, I could if I wasn't a Gamecock, possibly. But I mean, it's not happening. But that's
Mike,
that's not one of my adopted teams. I'll tell you
Mike,
that.
if you had to switch teams, could you be a Georgia fan if you had to pick an SEC team?
I could do it, and it would not make me. It wouldn't turn my stomach.
If I had to pick an SEC team, I probably would go with Auburn. I could see myself being. I kind of like the fact that
they're decent at everything.
With Bama, I like the fact. I like the Bo Jackson history and the Frank Thomas, and I like their uniforms. I love their helmets.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have to take a lot of shit because they're decent in most sports. I mean, they don't have anything
their fan base isn't annoying like Bama fans are. Plus they're Bama's rival. I don't really like Bama, so that's good there. So I'd probably go Auburn if I had to make a choice. I couldn't do Georgia. Couldn't do anyone in the East really. It's too much.
If I had to pick an SEC team, I would go with Mizzou in honor of the Mazodcast. That way I could scream Mizzou.
There you go. Now they have 6 fans.
Yeah, there you go. I'd do that, but I'd probably I'd either go with Mizzou or Vanderbilt just because Vanderbilt's the bastard stepchild. And then if we ever won anything as a Vanderbilt fan, we could really rub people's noses in it. That'd be funny. In the ACC,
they've been around longer than South Carolina has.
Mm-hmm. They got a great baseball program, and their basketball program, they've had some pretty good moments. I mean, they've had some good teams. They've been awful lately, but they've had some really good, some good players. Will Purdue, of course.
Will Purdue,
great name.
Speaking of Will Purdue, someone brought this up the other day. You know how ESPN is going to do the 10-part series on the Bulls in the '90s, like in June? And someone said, ESPN, we know it's done. Can you please put that out now? Like, the world needs something to watch. Can you please just drop that documentary now on ESPN and do everyone a favor and just play that,
No, but we do get from Disney because Disney, of course, owns ESPN. We get motherfucking Frozen 2.
Yeah, listen,
buddy.
That was huge today in my house, by the way. That was huge. My daughter could watch on her phone today. That was a big deal. So
man,
that was a big deal in the house. But if they can just drop the Bulls '90s 10-part documentary that comes out in mid-June, it's supposed to come out during the NBA Finals time. Hello, there probably won't be one, folks. So let's go ahead and just drop that now. Let's not.
I watched that 30 for 30 today on the 2 Bills. Y'all seen that one?
Yeah, I have.
That's fucking awesome.
That's really good. The one with it's not 30 for 30, but the HBO one with Belichick and Saban's really good too. That's really good. So check that on HBO. I forget what it's called now, but it's Belichick and Saban. And the cool thing is they wanted them to leave the room. The camera crew to leave the room so they could talk for a little bit, but they kept the cameras rolling like by mistake. And then afterwards they asked them, can we still use this? But you can see what they actually talk about, like when they're being normal and they talk about football. Like, oh yes, which it's pretty wild to watch that too. So check it out on HBO. Yeah, 2 Bills really good on on that, and then the Belichick Saban one's really good in that. But Belichick's good because he loves NFL films. So if NFL films doing anything, like he's pretty good about opening up. Like he sucks at press conferences. He doesn't want to do anything with press conferences. But if NFL films comes to him, he's a big fan of the Sables and history. So if NFL films said we want to do something with you, he goes all out. He did that whole thing where they followed him around for a whole year back in 2009, and they released that as a season, which is a really good 2-part thing they did on NFL Network. So he's really cool about if NFL films is involved, he'll do some stuff. So it's pretty good.
Shout out to Gwen watching us online. We appreciate that. He shows up every week. Hello to Gwen. And by the way, we want to put out there too, we want to thank our patrons of the show. They include Lawton Swan of Clemson Sports Talk, the czar of Clemson Sports, Thomas Dana Young, Stacy Marie Hamp, Keith Harrelson, Jamie Phillips, Tabitha Sims, Robert Knight, Positive Mike, Lisa Sester Harkins, Jeff Pritchett, Christian Young, Nathan Medlin, Eddie Hicks does all of our graphics. We appreciate him. Sally Donegan and Melanie Bookhart. We appreciate them for supporting the show. If you want to support the show, go to robandcomrade.com. Gentlemen, I wanted to share with you something here real quick before we I've got a couple other topics that I want to get into tonight that are kind of interesting to me anyway. My daughter dyed her hair Smurf blue. And I told her that I would dye my hair Smurf blue if I could get 3 folks to support me at St. Baldrick's, which St. Baldrick's fights childhood cancer. So I'm going to post the link over here in our chat room. If we get 3 people from the podcast you could like spend $1. Seriously. If you would spend $1 and 3 of them do it, then I will dye my hair blue, and then when I get to St. Baldrick's, they're going to shave my head bald whenever the hell that comes back. So I think that it's going to be funny because I may run around with blue hair for a month. So if we could get to support me there, I'm going to post the link here in the chat room. It's so simple. Just go and donate $1. It's not a big deal. And
y'all do it. Donate. He'll look like the fucking blue meanie. He'll be awesome.
I will look like the fucking blue meanie. That's the way it's going to be. But
you just need the jorts and the down sleeveless t-shirt.
I do need the jorts. That would be funny. A couple of questions here that we'll get these out there real quick. We'll start with you, Cale. How do you feel the coronavirus will affect Tom Brady's future? I have a keeper fantasy league and would love your advice. What do you think, Cale?
How will he feel the coronavirus will affect Tom Brady's future? I don't know. What is he talking about? Talking about play next year or what the hell?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
I don't think it'll have much of an effect on it at all. I mean, I think this stuff I think this is going to pass over in 2-3 weeks. And, I think things will be back to normal again by the beginning of the summer. So,
what do you think, Mike?
Well, it sounds like today the Tennessee Titans signed Tannehill to a 4-year deal worth $118 million. Good Lord. And apparently they chose him over Tom Brady. So I think Brady's down to the Chargers now and the Patriots.
No, it's the Bucks and the Patriots.
I heard the Chargers were in play too.
Okay.
I heard the Chargers were in play too. So but Bucks might be in too, but I heard those were. I think it's like New England. But listen, I will say this: I'm hopeful. What Cale said that passes over in a couple of weeks. But if people keep on going out to all these clubs, it will not pass over in a few weeks. And so hopefully football season not affected. But I'm telling you right now, there was a thing Keith Olbermann put out the other day, a sports center thing he did, 30 for 30, not 30 for 30, but E60 thing. And he's talking about it pushing to July. And we're getting real, if it starts going to July, we're getting real close to football season too. So it would kind of suck because it'd be kind of hard if for some reason this got really bad and the NFL season was wiped out. Brady, taking a year off at his age would be, he'd be pretty messed up. But from a baseball perspective, I don't want this to happen now, but if baseball got wiped out this year, it would be kind of funny that the Dodgers traded for Mookie Betts his last year of his contract, didn't play a game for him, and we got 2 prospects for him, the Red Sox. That'd be pretty funny.
I don't think that'll happen. I think they're going to do something. So
I think I'm not sure how they're going to play a whole season. They're probably going to play 120 games, I think. Right now, they're holding out hope, saying they could add up the missed games at the end of the year, but that's not going to happen if they start in May. I mean, they better start, so we'll see. It stinks, but I mean, they've played shortened seasons before, Major League Baseball. There's a bunch of them throughout the history, so it's not like it's the only time this happens. The only time it's happened because of a virus, not because of usually it's a world war or a strike. Usually, it's something but so we'll see.
Well, there's that. By the way, there was a note from the NFL today. I kind of wanted to talk about this for just a moment with the NFL has basically said that they passed that new the new CBA, which is kind of interesting. I think the one thing I really want to talk about though is that you can now fail a pot test and be fine in the NFL. I think that needs to be everywhere. What do you think, Cale?
You can fail a pot test and be okay in the NFL?
Yep. You won't be penalized in the NFL if you fail a pot test.
Well, I know the NFL, it was illegal for them, even though it's legal to smoke weed or whatever in Colorado. It's not okay for a Broncos player to go out and get high. But I mean, that's good. I mean, because you get yourself some secondhand shit from somewhere. I mean, in so many states it's legal now. I don't know how many, but yeah. I mean, it's just changing times. It's changing times, and I mean, they had to change, and I think that's probably a good thing. To be honest with you.
I don't think it's big of a deal, though. Do you? In the grand scheme of things?
No.
Mike,
I think it makes sense. I mean, the NFL is all about pain tolerance, right? I mean, those guys go through all kinds of stuff, and a lot of them get addicted to painkillers, to heavy stuff, and that stuff can kill you. So it makes sense that you give these guys an option to deal with their pain a different way, and do it legally. Not to worry about being all those things too. So, I mean, it makes sense that you're going to put the players through this. And you're worried about their safety, all those things. I think this is better than taking all the heavy duty painkillers they're taking. So good for the NFL.
That could work. And by the way, there was like a sling, like a crazy bunch of moves today. I'll read you some of them. Ryan Tannehill, $62 million, fully guaranteed contract. They're loving him up in Tennessee. I didn't think he was worth that much. Did you, Cale? $62 million for Ryan Tannehill?
No. God, no.
Do you like the Titans doing that, Mike?
I mean, the money's a lot, but I would say this: the salary cap for the NFL has increased a lot, though, too. So it's a little bit misleading, but it's still a lot of money for a guy who's a backup quarterback who they put in there because Marcus Mariota was horrible, and then he relied on a great running game and a great defense, and basically threw the ball about 12 times a game. I don't know. I was surprised they did so. I thought that another team would make the mistake, like a team needing a quarterback would send them for that contract free agency wise. And but hey, I think. I mean, listen. I'm not a big. I don't think he's an awful quarterback, but that's like superstar quarterback money. And he's not a superstar quarterback. So
you think he got that much money because his wife is hot as fuck?
It probably didn't help. Probably didn't hurt, I should say.
I mean, she is hot. Anyway, I could say that. My wife would see that. She'd be like, yeah, that bitch is hot. Yeah, it's true, though. I mean, I don't think you should pay that much money for a guy that hasn't I think he's been to the playoffs one time, and that was this year. They're going to franchise Derrick Henry, by the way. I think that's going to happen. So, anyway, I actually got some help. We'll take Jam Chambers' question in a moment. Who would you put on the Buffalo Bills Mount Rushmore? That's kind of funny. We'll do that in a second. But I asked Kale about this yesterday, and I got some good responses from him. So I put together on my blog page what I thought would be like, I think I had 8 Clemson games that you could stream from YouTube that you could watch and kind of make yourself feel like it's football season since we have nothing else to watch. Kale gave me this list for the Gamecocks, and I thought I'd throw some of these your way. Kale already agrees on these, but what I put in my text to him was, I don't want to be a smartass and put in New Mexico State in 2000 because, that's me being a douche. But
although, I mean, that was back when New Mexico State was a big fucking deal.
New Mexico State was fucking terrible. Shut up, Kale.
They were good.
They were not good. They were horse shit. They were terrible.
The quarterback, they ran the auction. I mean, looking pretty damn impressive. I mean, a Gamecock come out off a winless season, and they go out and just
all right. Well,
dissect this team. I mean,
I'll tell you what. I'll put that on the list. Then you want the 2000 game. What is it? The 2000 game with New Mexico State, or was it 99? 2000, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that'll be number 1.
It was narrated. That game was fucking. It was on the SCETV. I've seen it on YouTube. It's got fucking ETV. Play-by-play.
Who was doing the play-by-play? Do you know? Who was doing it? Do you know?
Not to be racial here, but some black dude and some white dude. I don't know. I do remember that.
Way to go, Kale. Way to go. Kale also put the 1994 CarQuest Bowl. That Mike does not want to hear that because one of the best coaches in Gamecock history, old Brad Scott, led the team to their first bowl victory. Mike doesn't want anything to do with that, right, Mike?
No, it was Sparky's players, of course, yeah.
So we can add the CarQuest Bowl team. You're cool with that? Cool.
Fine.
All right. Now,
I guess a good West Virginia team take it down Don Nealon's Mountaineers.
Some teams beat West Virginia and Miami. Some teams go to Miami and play West Virginia and beat them. Other teams go to Miami and get destroyed by West Virginia.
Boomer Foster catching a touchdown.
Delta 900 on YouTube says it's the 1995 CarQuest Bowl. Okay.
Oh God.
Well, yeah. It's January 1st.
Not my team.
January 1st. Yeah.
Delta, so
90. It's 94 team. 94. Yeah. Whatever.
It was on January 2nd, 1995.
Then Kale had actually some good games. 1984, the Notre Dame game. These are all pre-Comrade. He's not going to know anything about them. He was up in Syracuse nuts in 84. He knows nothing about South Carolina playing.
Well, I've read about them. I don't remember watching the games though. But yeah, I've read about them. I've researched them. I just don't have memories of actually watching. I've seen YouTube games.
All right,
that
one you got to watch it. It's split into. I think it's either split into 2 or 3 parts.
Right.
But that was a good one. There's actually in the second half of that game, they actually pan over to the sideline, and you see old Coach Joe Morrison standing over there with his black windbreaker with the damn collar up, standing there, and he takes a big old long drag off that Marlboro cigarette over there on the sideline. Man, that was a different time. But it doesn't seem that long ago. You know what I'm saying?
1988 NC State game. That's pre-Comrade too. Kale, tell us something special about that game.
That was just a good game. I remember I went with my mom. We used to go to all the South Carolina. We went to all the home games, and we would go to 1 or 2 road games a year. And this was from like 1981 till 1991, I think, ish. When I got into high school and started working on the weekends and playing football and stuff, and I really just couldn't go anymore. But that weekend they were playing in Raleigh, and we didn't go to the game, but we had went up there to visit my aunt who lived in Raleigh, and I remember being there at her house and we watched that game. It was on ESPN. You know, it was back before it. You didn't get on ESPN all the time, and I think we had lost one game up to that point. That was Todd Ellis, maybe the junior year,
Right.
and we were like 5-0, and we went down to Georgia Tech, who was a fucking horrible team. They were fucking horrible. I think they had won one game the year before against somebody from the Southern Conference, and were winless, and they beat us like 34-0 in Atlanta. Just, I mean, we're favored by like 3 touchdowns, and all of a sudden, just fucking 34-0, just fucking lost. Nobody talks about that one when I talk about the great Gamecock bed shittings, but that's one of them. I remember that. So I think they had a week off, and then the next week they had the Sports Illustrated article came out with the steroid thing and all that hanging over them. And
Fake news.
They went to NC State, who had a pretty good team. I think they were a 1-loss team, and we just beat the living shit out of them in their own building, ran them out of the place. I remember our linebacker, big Patrick Hinton, number 46, intercepting a pass right before halftime, returned that thing like 60 yards for a touchdown, just lumbering down the sideline. So that was just a good win. That was a good feel good. You know, one of those Dabo do walk feel good type moments. That's what that was for me that night.
2013, the Mizzou game. Conrad was in on that one. But I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, but I think I worked this game with WVOC, if I remember correctly. And that was the Connor Shaw is out, but then Connor Shaw is like, he basically came back and just kind of resurrected the team. And you guys shut the hell up, all those Mizzou fans up there. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. Also, the field goal, Missouri that banged off the goal post. And of course, during that time, the Red Sox were playing in the World Series, I believe, that night too. So I was kind of going. I had a split screen going on, back and forth playing the Cardinals in the World Series. So I'm going back and forth, and I was superstitious. You know, I would change TVs based on how each team was doing. So like I'd turn it like the in screen to the bigger one when the Gamecocks were playing better, and turn it back. You know, so I was kind of going back and forth trying to find the right combination. And of course, it worked because both my teams won that night. But that was a crazy game for sure.
I remember that game. That was a good one. I can't remember where I was at. I do. I was in Malden then, Malden, South Carolina. I was living in apartments, and my son was there watching that game with me, and we were down by like 3 at halftime. Missouri was ranked like number 3 or 4 in the country, I think, and we were down by like 3 at halftime, and it seemed like right after halftime we got up a fucking like a 98-yard touchdown pass to one of their speedster. He just took it down the damn sideline. You remember that? And I'm like, you know how I get. I'm like, we're fucking done. We're done. And I remember going into the damn kitchen, like putting some stuff away. I was like, fuck it. I'm not watching anymore. And I had my, and then about 10 minutes later, my son's like, Dad, come back. We're doing good. And I come back and I'm like, there's Connor Shaw's back in. I'm like, and so the comeback ensued. We went to overtime and then double overtime. You can go back on YouTube and listen to that one, the Todd Ellis call on that one on the field goal. It was like a 23-yard field goal they had to send it to triple overtime. Mm-hmm. Todd's like, he missed it. The Missouri kicker missed it. He missed it. Don Williams. I can't believe, what's his name? Tommy Sugg. I can't believe it, Todd. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it. He missed that field goal.
That's funny.
That was a good one.
That was definitely a good one. Kale, can you answer Ray 7337's question? Actually, Comrade and I'll guess. What position did Kale play in high school? You want to take a guess, Mike?
I'd say left tackle.
I'm thinking Kale was. I'm gonna go with Kale being a defensive tackle. Kale, what position did you play?
No, I was the right guard, and I played some at linebacker, and I actually started at right guard over there. I was like 180 pounds, so I was the smallest one on the offensive line, um, and I was also the punter.
You punted?
Yes,
No way.
yes, way.
That's
Yes.
funny. So you're out there
Yeah.
putting the ball around. Tell us about your best punt, Kale.
I mean, I'm telling you, I could knock 40-yard punts. I mean, pretty easily. I mean, I was, like one of the better ones in our region, to be honest with you. I mean, it's something I don't remember my best one. I mean, I was just, just something when I was a little kid, man, I don't know why, I just started reading these books at the damn library about kicking. And I used to kick field goals too, just straight on. But I was not the field goal kicker. We had a kid that played soccer that was the actual field goal kicker. But I was his backup, and I was a straight on kicker. If you know what I'm saying there. But yeah, I was just fascinated with it. And I just started kicking the ball around, I was booming 40-yard punts at home. And I was like, hey, I'm pretty good at this. And coach was like, hey, you want to do that? And I'm like, yeah. And I was nervous as shit first few times I did it in the game. But then it gets easier. But yeah.
Well, there's a couple other games on here that I thought we put last year's Georgia game on there because, I mean, Gamecock fans were loving that shit. Do you like last year's Georgia game, or do you want to go with the Georgia game from 88, the Georgia game from 2000, the Georgia game from 2001, or the Georgia game from 2007? Which one? I mean, last year's was completely unexpected. The only two people on the planet that thought South Carolina had a chance were the dumbass comrade and you won't believe this, but it's in my podcast feed. Levon Kirkland, the Clemson great, he said he thought that South Carolina had a chance. The rest of us thought y'all were going to get blown the hell out. But
I think there's more. Listen, I would have put the 93 game up there. The 93 Georgia game is one of my all-time favorite games.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one, because it's my first ever game as a Gamecock, my first ever being on camp. I was in the sidelines and some windbreaker pants. Okay, but it's my first actual game playing for the Gamecocks, and I thought, man, this is what the Gamecocks do, man. They pull games out in the clutch,
Yeah, you got spoiled quick.
This is what the Gamecocks do. We just found a way to win, and then I think the other Georgia game I like is the 2000 game because it was kind of like you felt that it was the start of something big. Now listen, we ended up going 8-4 Outback Bowl, but back then it was big for us. But you felt like we were for real, beating Quincy Carter and Williams Bryce with Lou Holtz. You felt we found the coach.
Here's
so
what
I put that up there.
I remember about that game. That was one of the first games that I actually worked with our radio team covering the Gamecocks. And I remember thinking, I remember that after the game, Lou Holtz talked about, he told the team, we're going to need 4 turnovers is what he said he told the team. And I'm sitting there in the and I'm like, all right, 4 turnovers. Georgia turned the ball over 7 fucking times. I mean, they had 7 turnovers in that game. That was probably the most piss poor performance I've seen out of a Georgia football team ever.
It was that great defense, bro.
7 times. Defense.
Was that little zone blitz action, that little zone blitz working?
No.
Just that defense was confusing them. Great linebacker play. Who had the linebacker had a great game in that game? God, I can't. It's put my name now. But we had some great linebacker play that game. But that was like the you felt like something.
John
like
Abraham.
Yeah, I know Abraham, but there was somebody else too. Had a couple of picks in that game, but that was the game that you felt like we had turned the corner. Like the New Mexico State game was nice. Broke the losing streak. But like then we beat Georgia, and like okay, we've got the coach, we've got we're going to be good. And we had 2 good years. We went back to back Outback Bowl and wins and whatever, 2 back-to-back 8-win seasons, which wasn't really something we did a whole lot in our history back then.
Yeah.
So
well, that was the hell of a game though when you think about it.
yeah, but that I put that game up in the 93 game. I put number 1 for me as my favorite game, and then that game there. But I do love the game we just destroyed in Williams-Brice. The game with David Clowney was all over Aaron Murray. Was Murray the quarterback then? It was Murray? Yeah. Just destroyed Murray, and like that game that game there, which is probably that was 2012.
Yeah,
2012. Because that 2012 was that was probably one of our best performances in game pack. Like I think in terms of how we played that night, I think we played a perfect game. Georgia's a pretty good team, and they had no chance. So
they didn't lose another game that season, the regular season.
Yeah, that was a good Georgia team, and we made them look like they were bad. And I think it's because we played really well. We were talented, and we played. We were peak. That was kind of the best we played that I've seen. That's probably the best game I've seen the Gamecock team play.
That was the year. That was the year that they should have beaten Alabama in the SEC championship game, but stupid ass Mark Richt forgot that there were 4 downs, not 3.
Dennis Quinn had 2 picks in that game.
That's it.
Rashad Faison had a pick.
Yeah, Dennis Quinn's what I'm thinking.
Andre Goodman had a pick and ran it back 70 yards, but didn't get a touchdown. And this game ended up 21-10. If you think about that, that pick had to be like crazy. I don't remember the whole play-by-play on it, but if he returns a pick 70 yards, they had to be in the red zone.
Oh yeah.
I mean, end zone.
It was a close. We didn't dominate that game. It was a close game. The game was in the balance. Like it wasn't like it wasn't like we had our feet up. Like we're it was like they probably. I have to look at the yardage. I'm guessing they probably killed us in yardage or beat us in yardage.
I can share that with you right now. South Carolina had 287 yards. Georgia was held to 202 yards. Yep. That's so you won the yardage thing. Quincy Carter on the day, and if you remember the talk about that game back then, like Quincy, they were talking about. Weren't they talking about Quincy Carter was going to win the Heisman and shit?
Yeah, he was big. He was Justin Fields before Justin Fields.
Carter finished the day 10 of 24 with 5 picks. Outplayed by Boiling Springs' own Phil Petty, 18 for 28, 154 yards. He did not throw a touchdown, but did have an interception. Let me see here. The scoring in that game. Let's see here. I'm going to give, because this is an interesting game. Rushing and receiving. Derek Watson, that was the guy. 20 carries, 93 yards, and 3 touchdowns. It was the Derek
he was talented
show on the day. Yeah,
he was talented. He was a dumbass. He was talented.
Trouble. That was his problem.
Yeah, dumbass. But I'll tell another Georgia game too that we lost though. That is a game that is probably. I mean, I hate to have a favorite game we lose, but in terms of just a great game, I believe it was 0-2 home game again. That was the game where David Pollock. Had that, and then we still had a chance to win. I was in the student section. I wasn't a student then, but I used to sit in the student section. And we were coming down to score, and who's the quarterback now? But we came down, and we pitched to Andrew Pinnock, who had a huge hole, for the go-ahead touchdown, and Pinnock just dropped the pitch, hit him in the stomach, went to the ground, and that was the game. I remember just being like, you're sitting there, and you see the play developing. I'm in the end zone. They're coming to me, and you see the hole open up. He's like, oh, my God, yes. And he pitches to it like, yes. All of a sudden, he just drops the ball, and the whole crowd just went silent. Like, are you kidding me? We lost by, I think we lost by 4 points or something like that. Whatever. I just want to win the game. He throwing the David Pollock crazy pick interception thing. That happened the other end of the end zone.
2014 South Carolina Georgia game where we won at home. That was a good one too. That turned out not to be a really great Georgia team, but that was when we gotten blown out by Texas A&M. And in the first game of the SEC network. Looked like shit. Came back home the next week, won against East Carolina or somebody like 1-1, and then we knocked off Georgia, who was ranked really high at the time, and that was just a good game. But if you go back and look on YouTube, there's not the 1986 South Carolina Georgia game, and I was at this one. We lost that game 31-26 in Willie B. That was Todd Ellis' freshman year. And on the last play of the game, Georgia had the fucking football to just run the clock out. And their quarterback by the name of James Jackson, I think they called it Action Jackson, takes it, just runs around with the football and sets it down on the fucking ground. And our defensive back, Norman Floyd, never will forget it, scooped it up and ran like 25 yards in for a fucking touchdown. It's a touchdown. The damn ball was still live. That play wasn't dead. You can't just do that. But, I mean, they called the thing dead, said, nah, the game's over. Game's over. Georgia wins. And I remember we were just like dumbfounded. Everybody was just standing there for like 20 minutes after it was over. I thought, really? And my mom was like, she was so fucking pissed. I remember she's like, they screwed. That was all the times I really ever heard her cuss. She's like, they fucked us out of that game. I mean, they did. They shit us out of that damn game. We won that game. We won the damn game.
I may put together, since we're going to have a lot of time here without sports, I'm going to put together like some Gamecock wins. Then I may put together some Gamecock losses where the Gamecocks got screwed. I'm going to put together some Clemson losses where Clemson got screwed. On the basketball front, fuck Duke forever for what they did to us 10 years ago, where the whole thing where the guy went the length of the court and the fucking clock doesn't stop. We won that game. They fucked us out of that game. Fuck Duke for eternity. I have a shirt. I'm not joking. It says, I will cheer for Duke when they play Al Qaeda. I'm dead serious. I goddamn, I hate Duke. Now you done pissed me off. I can't do any more of this fucking show.
You got screwed out of one win. I remember one time when Danny Ford was the coach, and I think they were playing Maryland, and they were holding on that play with like 3 seconds left in the game, and they scored. They ended up winning by like 3, but it was at Clemson. And I remember Danny Ford going over the sideline. I think this is on YouTube too. But he grabbed that official up. He told him, you can hear him on TV. Telling him, I told you he was holding, and he done the same goddamn shit down there last week. And it's just fucking hilarious. I think they made him sit in the press box next year for that game or something as punishment.
That's funny. My last question to you gentlemen for the evening is, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The South Carolina women's basketball team this year was the best that Don Staley's ever had, in my opinion. 29-1, outstanding team. They're getting screwed out of playing in the tournament. But there is talk that they should be just adorned or just been given the national championship title. Do you think that they should just be named the national champion simply off of what we've seen so far? Or should it be, no, sorry? What do you think, Cale?
No. I think the record book should just say vacated for all that stuff. I mean, really, did they not? Somebody told me that, and I didn't even kept up with it. Did they name Florida State the ACC champions?
Yes, they named ACC Florida State
regular season or the tournament.
Well, they were the regular season, and then they named the tournament champions so that they would get the AQ bid. I mean, they were the automatic qualifier. So that's why the ACC did that. So, but I don't know, man. It's for me. It's you got to win the damn tournament. Now, I do think that Don Staley's team would have wiped the floor with everybody that they played. The only team I wanted to see them play was probably Oregon, but I think they beat the shit out of Oregon, to be honest. But if you don't win the tournament, I'm sorry. It sucks for those ladies, but I'm sorry. You don't get a title. Mike, what do you think?
I don't think it should be national. What I think should happen is the AP should do a final vote, and then and just crown the game, not national champions, but AP number one for the 1920 season. And I think the Gamecocks put the banner up, be AP number one. No national champion language in there, just AP number one.
Yeah, we don't get
like
a fucking Coke bottle for it.
Yeah, so like something like that, just to recognize the fact that they were the clear cut number one team in the country. I mean, I think that would be a good compromise, but no national champion kind of thing, and they're just kind of
because the NCAA is not going to list them anyway. So
yeah.
I came up with something on my show the other day with college baseball. Now, the CDC says that we should, for the next 8 weeks, not have gatherings of said people. So if we do the math on that, 22nd, 29, the 5th would be 3 weeks. That would be in April. Then you got 12th, 19, 26. That would be 7. So until May 3rd, according to the CDC, we should not have any gatherings of 50 people or more. I think after that, though, you in theory could have a college baseball season. Here's my thoughts. The NCAA has already said, screw you, we're not doing it. I think the ACC and the SEC should get together, and we'll have the ACC teams will play three-game series over. You could do them over the weekend, or you could do them, in theory, do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then do the following week too. But play 3 sets of 3 games against ACC opponents. SEC does the same thing. After that, you take the top 4 from the league. So there's a 9-game schedule, basically. You take the top 4 from the league, from each league, and then we basically have our own Southern fried version of Omaha. What do you guys think about that?
That'd be cool, but I don't see it happening. I mean, it's just crazy to think that you're on the verge of playing the first conference series. The game, I mean, you guys played the week before, and that's kind of, as a baseball fan, I know we make fun of the Clemson series, and that's how it's the most important thing for you guys. But in reality, I mean, I always look forward to the SEC season. That's when you kind of find out how good you are, what kind of season you're going to have, and the fact that it's just gone. I mean, it's unreal. Like it's just mind-boggling how quick this all happens.
Yeah.
In the perfect world, Kale, though, would you like that series if we could get it happening?
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I think it really would. But once again, I don't think the brass at the SEC and the brass at the ACC are going to get in bed together long enough for that to come to reality.
It sucks. But maybe at this point, there are 2 things that you can pretty much watch right now. One of them would be SmackDown. Did you watch SmackDown on Friday night, Kale?
Mm-mm.
It was the weirdest shit ever. If you follow WWE, they come out and they're in a ring at the Performance Center, and there is no crowd. There is nobody there. It was fucking crazy. But you have that, and then the UFC. What's the guy that runs the UFC, Mike? What's his name?
Dana White.
Dana White has pretty much come out and said, fuck the coronavirus. I think that's pretty much his exact terms. They're going to have their fights regardless at different venues, and the people are still going to come out and see them. But as far as sporting events, that's all you got. You got the WWE, and Vince McMahon has not come out and said, I'm canceling WrestleMania. I was listening to Jim Cornette's podcast today, and Jim Cornette said, God damn, he's not going to cancel that shit. He'll have the fucking zombie apocalypse. Motherfucker hanging from the fucking ceiling before he cancels that shit. He thinks this is all up for a bunch of pussies. That's basically what Vince McMahon thinks.
Well, you remember him. He caught a bunch of hell for continuing the pay-per-view when Owen Hart died.
Yeah.
I mean, people he got caught a lot of shit for that. I mean, the show must go on, pal. And I mean, they continued on with it, and they knew that he was dead before, like halfway through the show.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what you do in that situation. I mean,
Comrade, will you get back into WWE now, since that's all you got?
I don't know, man. Last night, I mean, a couple nights ago, I was watching about 1 a.m. I was watching a game from May 10th, 1984, Tigers and Red Sox from Tiger Stadium. and it was all blurry YouTube, but I was like watching it and just like that's all I had. Sad.
Was Chet Lemon and Alan
Yeah.
Whitaker in the lineup?
Yeah, Alan Trammell, Lou Whitaker, Chet Lemon were in there. It was bad. It was bad.
Well, I thought I had an idea, and I'll pitch it to you guys. They do this on the. I know they do this on like something to wrestling and stuff like that. Some of the podcasts Kale and I listen to. What are you guys thinking about doing like one night where we do like a watch along on some of these games and just kind of comment on it? Pick a game and we'll watch. Like it may be too long, but I think it would be kind of cool. You know, we can both react. All of us react to it. It may take like a 2-hour set, but think about it. Would you be interested in that, Kale? That might be kind of cool.
Sure.
I'll do it.
Back and watch the game and be like, all right, we'll pick a game. We'll put out a poll at the on the Robin Comrade Show Facebook page. Which game do you want us to do a watch along on? And I'm you know, you can put whatever you want, and then we have to be able to find the game on YouTube. I don't think we can stream the game side by side. We might be able to. I don't know. I might be able to do that. I don't know. We'll see. That could be interesting. We could have it side by side, but then we might catch hell on could we catch hell on YouTube for that, Kale? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I think
the only thing they would do is they would not monetize the stream. It would have a little yellow mark down there, and they say you can't monetize it because you got copyright infringement. But it's okay. I mean, it's nothing. They're not going to take my channel down because of it or anything. They just won't let you.
Maybe if I can figure out how to get the fourth screen up here, and the fourth screen is the game, or just tell people, hey, start the game like they do with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson do, and then we'll just kick back and just talk about the game. That could be fun. I'm all up for that.
I'm for it. Desperate times.
So
Indeed.
I've also contacted our I hope he's going to be a friend of the show, Uncle Lou. He said he wants to be on the show, so we'll see if he gets on. So we'll get through this together. We got to figure out what night you want to do it. Do you want to do it Wednesday or do you want to do it Sunday? Because obviously, with my job, I can go whenever I want. I think Mike's a little open on his too, but Kale, you're the one that's got to get it.
I'm real open now.
Kale, what day's best for you, man?
That one either day. It would be grand if we could start at 8:30 with that though, so we could kind of finish up.
All right. Well, I'll with stuff on that. And we'll figure out which game we're gonna watch. And being that I'm a good host, the first game we'll watch will be a Gamecock game. There you go. Because we watch Clemson games, we know what's going to happen. We just beat the shit out of people. That's no fun. That's so fun to talk about. Look, Clemson wins again. Woo! Yeah, we'll have fun.
The Goldberg of football.
All right, guys. Well, it has been a good show. We'll do a watch along here at some point. Uncle Lou's supposed to join the broadcast at some point. Looking forward to that. And if I can get him to commit. So we'll work on that too. But thanks for checking us out this evening, guys. Thanks a lot. Guys,
bye.
We're